Hello, everyone. Good morning. It's Robbie. Well, it's morning somewhere. I'll say it like that. This is episode 14 of Miscellaneous Candor, frank, honest, and otherwise outspoken. Today, Steven and I are talking about our main topics, but we kind of go off a little bit as we can do. I do have a serious conversation I'm talking about today. Something that really kind of touched me. So we talk about that some, and then we also have lots of laughs. So sit back, listen, enjoy, and please follow us. Please provide some feedback. Definitely want the reviews, and we appreciate you listening to us. Every week we get more listeners. So I think we're doing all right. All right, here we go. Welcome back, everybody. This is Robbie. Another episode of Miscellaneous Candor, frank, honest, and otherwise outspoken.
And this is Stephen Kennedy here, your board certified atheist at your service.
Is that going to always be your intro? You know what?
What?
That's fine.
You
Whatever.
don't like it? You don't?
I,
Are
I
you
didn't
saying
say
you
I
don't?
didn't like it. I didn't say I didn't like it. I just
I'm
asked
just trying to be
a
true to
question.
the audience, Robbie. I'm just trying to be true. You don't
Okay,
like
well,
you
you do
don't like
you.
you don't like candor?
Okay, smarty pants. Okay, we're good. We're good. All right.
I want my you know I want my voice to be authentic. I want our listeners to know where I'm coming from because my feelings, my opinions, which are always correct, are coming from a certain point of view, and I want them to understand where my feelings, my point of views, my opinions are coming from.
I love how you threw in there that are always correct. Okay, let's get into it because
Sure.
this is
Yeah.
ridiculous.
Sorry.
All right, here we go. Hi everyone. Okay, so welcome back. Podcast reviews. So Stephen, I know you didn't listen to any podcasts, so I'll just jump in.
Wait a
Uh,
second. That really hurts my feelings because you make
why?
this wild assumption that I wouldn't. I mean, we talked about how I was gonna start listening to podcasts, and now you're just making this assumption. You know, I mean, I haven't gotten to it yet, but I will next week. I will. No, I will. I'm serious because I actually put together a list of podcasts that I want to listen to, but then I just got tied up with daily shit.
hmm All I'm gonna say is that past behavior can predict future action. Hey, but you know what? You made a list. So baby
Made it.
steps.
That's right.
I'm going to give you that. I'm going to give you that. We will see, audience, you and me, if he really does come next week with something that he listened to.
Yes.
In the meantime, you all know that I love listening to the podcast Reasonably Shady with Giselle Bryant and Robin Dixon from Housewives of Potomac, even though Robin's not on there anymore. Okay, so this week they had an episode. First of all, they're on episode 156, which is great, crazy, but amazing. And it's called Grab and Twist. And I was like, what? Called Grab and Twist. Okay, so they start the podcast every week and they have what they call like their shady moment. And so I just want you to listen to this.
Oh boy.
Here we go. And they were big burly men. And they were like, grab the dick and twist. Grab the dick and twist. Grab the dick and twist. And I was like, so other people started saying it. I think that's not the same. Grab the dick and twist. I never heard of that. Okay, so
You're gonna, you're gonna. Okay, what's the you, let's fill in the audience.
okay, so Giselle went to a hockey game with her friend Ashley. It was the Capitals at they live in Potomac, Maryland, right? Okay, they live in Maryland. And she said she was at the hockey game. The guys behind her just started screaming, I guess in terms of like it's a rooting thing, grab the dick and twist. And I was just like, oh
Okay.
my God. I mean, did you hear that when I was playing the
Yeah.
clip?
Yeah.
So I was just like, so that was her shady moment. And then she goes on and she tells more about it. But I was dying. First of all, you all know that I work out and listen to podcasts. So when
You-
I heard this as I was working out, I literally started. I just had to stop. And I just started cracking
Oh
up
man.
in the gym. I could not believe it. Anyway, I was like, okay, I've got to play this on the podcast this week because it was just the way.
Shame on you.
Ah, okay, all right. So, then of course you guys know I love listening to Joe Rogan here and there. It's a lot because it's always like 2, 3 hours. Luke
Mhm.
Bryan is on there. I gotta listen to him. Anyway, and Jelly Roll, who I love. Okay, but yes, I like Jelly Roll. Um, okay, but okay, so Trump was on there. So Kamala was supposed to go on, but she didn't. I don't know why. And then Trump is on there. And so I was listening to it. And I was actually listening to it today, which is interesting. And then I had to start working. And then I went back to listen to it and I noticed that it was like it disappeared from Apple Podcasts for a reason. I was like,
What do
why
you
did it
mean?
disappear? Like, I'm going to get to this. This is what's crazy. And so I was like, where'd it go? Like, it literally, it stopped just in the middle of playing. I was like, what happened? I went to my Apple Podcast, like the list where you can see all the episodes, and the Trump episode had disappeared. It had freaking gone. And I was like, why is it gone? And so then I found it on YouTube and I went to the point where I was, and it was hard to find on YouTube. Then I was like, oh, well, he's on Spotify. I was like, it's there. I was like, and I kept looking at my Apple podcast, like, where did it go? Why did it disappear? Like, I was tripping because Trump was talking about everything under the sun, and so was Joe.
Mm.
Okay, fast forward. Okay, so here's the thing. In the very beginning, Joe started talking about how Trump had gone on The View. And he said, I remember when you went on The View, and I remember when they were all your friends. And I remember there's a clip out there and it shows they were all friendly to you and they were super nice to you and they were hugging you and all of that, right? And so then I was saying to myself, but Joe was like, we can't play the clip because we don't want to get any copyright issues and have to have
Mm.
the show pulled. And he kept saying that about when he was talking about The View. And
Yeah.
so then I remembered that later on during the day after work. I was like, oh shit, today's Monday. I wonder if they talked about it on The View because Trump's thing came out, his episode came out like Saturday or something like that,
Uh-huh.
Saturday or Sunday. I don't remember. So I went and I watched The View. I was like, oh my God, I bet he pulled it because they straight called him on what he said and played the clip on The View and showed that. Oh my, it was just crazy. Whoopi was giving him a side eye. First of all, they said he came on there in 2016. And then Whoopi was like, nope, he came on there in 2011. And they showed it and everything. Then
Awesome.
they were like, he came on there and he was being all friendly. And the only person who said it was Barbara Walters. She was like, welcome, my friend, Donald Trump. And Whoopi was sitting there and they zoomed in on her face. She was giving a side eye. She was looking like, She didn't say it, but then when she came back from the break, her face looked like this motherfucker's about to damn. You could just tell she didn't want him to be on there.
That's
And so they
funny.
zoomed it. Then they played when Joe Rogan said, and then they were talking really friendly. And so they
Uh,
showed the clip when Donald Trump was going in on Obama's birth certificate, and
oh,
Whoopi was like yelling at him. It was not friendly. And she was like, "You can't say that." And there's never been a white president where they've asked that. And that is some hot bull trash, Donald. But I mean, they totally obliterated everything that he said on the podcast about it
perfect.
being a friendly environment. So I was like, 'cause one thing about Joe Rogan, he will correct himself. Like if he said something, so
Okay.
I can't help but think. I have to go back now and listen to it, but I cannot help but think that
Well, you know
that's
what?
the reason why it got pulled because they were correcting it. But I don't know.
So
I could be wrong, but it was
here's the thing.
crazy because
Here's the
they
thing.
straight fact checked it like in real time. It was crazy. Okay, go on.
You know the thing with Trump is that he emboldens all the people around him that admire him to lie. They see him lying and they know he's lying and they think this is the American culture. This is the American way. I'm going to lie about anything and everything too, and no one can stop me from doing it. And if I say it enough, they're going to believe me.
Okay,
The
well, here's the
magic
thing though.
Donald Trump.
In Joe Rogan's defense, okay, I don't always agree with everything Joe Rogan says, but one thing I do know is that he does try to be fair. So if they did go on it and correct it, I think that's good, and that like speaks to his character. I think that because the clip and the thing on the View was such a long time ago, they had their they did have their facts wrong, right? But there were some things on there, like Barbara did call Donald her friend. They were
Mm.
polite. They did kind of give him like a hug, but it was
Okay.
because see, but they explained that, right? So there was some contextual things there. But the part about being friendly and the part of Whoopi's face. Anyway, it just goes to show you, right? There's the right way, the wrong way, and the actual way. So
Yeah.
sometimes you never really know what the story is. But I just thought that was so interesting. Anyway, okay. So that's my
Yeah.
podcast stuff. You have anything to add?
About podcasts? Nah, no. I think we're good.
Okay, all right, let's jump into AI. And so I'm gonna say mine first, and then we can start talking about crazy stuff like we always do. But this is really sad. So I don't know if people heard about this. This is sad. This is about the character AI situation. Did you hear about this?
No.
Okay, so character AI is a company, and evidently it was started by two guys who are ex-Google employees or whatever. And they create like companions, AI companions for people. Like you can sign up and have an AI bot talk to you and all this kind of stuff. So this little kid, he's like 14 or whatever, and he I was gonna play the clip, but I just can't do it because they were talking about it on another podcast, but I can't play it because it's so sad. Um, so essentially he was friends with this AI bot, but he was getting so caught up with it and he wanted to kill himself.
Wait.
And the AI
How,
bot,
lonely?
yes,
How lonely is this guy? What is that?
it's a 14-year-old kid.
What a loser.
This is okay. Just let me finish the story.
Oh,
He's
right.
14.
Okay.
Get it together. Okay.
I
So
mean, to be fair, we didn't have the stuff when we were kids, so maybe I would have done the same as a 14-year-old horny.
you never exactly, right?
Yeah.
Right. Maybe. And so he really felt like connected to this AI bot. So then there's a point where he's telling the AI bot he wants to take his life. And the AI bot is like, no, don't do that. I'm here for you. And then he says, but I really think that I just need to go, blah, blah, blah. And so then he comes back to the AI bot and he says to the AI bot, you know, I think if I do this, I can be with you. I really want to be with you.
Wow.
And the AI bot says, I want you to be with me too. I want you to come and be with me. And
What?
then the kid says, I'm going to do it. The kid picks up his father's gun, shoots himself in the head.
Wow. This is a
So
true
the
story.
mom, this
You're not just
no, this is in the fucking news. This is in the freaking news.
okay.
The
You know,
wife, the
why are you getting
mom,
so Robbie? Why
the
are you getting so
mom,
emotional?
because this is so sad. The mom is an attorney. She is suing the company. She's trying to just like basically, I guess she wants to sue them into oblivion. They came out and said something about how they're going to put something in to try to protect age gate, not age gating, but protect. They're sad about it, but sorry, we're going to try to do something to protect
Oh, jeez. You know that.
teenagers from being involved. But the whole thing is this child got so caught up in a relationship, a fake relationship with an AI, right?
Uh,
When you're in puberty, kids from a certain age up until 25 are literally like mentally
retarded.
basically, yes, and
Yes.
um and crazy, like
Yeah.
chemically, because
Yeah.
that's what puberty does to you, right?
Yeah.
So he's thinking that this is real, so caught up because he was lonely, didn't really have any friends in school, all this kind of stuff, and he kills himself. And at first, yes, the AI bot told him not to when he said those words. But then when he started talking about being with her and all of this stuff in a way that the AI couldn't understand the
Yeah.
context,
Right.
it was crazy. That was so crazy to me.
That's really sad. Um, yeah.
But look at
That's
it up. It's in the news. Character AI. It's in there. It's a whole story about it. It's
wow.
fucking nuts.
I can't believe. I mean, and these are all. This is just one of the avenues where things can go wrong. It's such a crazy open world out there in AI. We just don't know. You know, all sorts of things can go wrong. It's just it's horrific. It's just shocking.
I know.
And
I
how,
know. And
navigating this legally and, to ensure that people stay safe, and then also navigating lawsuits like this kid's mother. uh it's such a it's a crazy, it's gonna be a crazy exploration.
it is, and this is my whole thing about this. This is what gets me so much. I mean, obviously, I was just laughing at that really lewd stuff that they were talking about on the other podcast, but when I was talking about this, and I was thinking about this, and I think about when you were a teenager, like when we were teenagers, before they had all of this, right? And
Yeah.
there was always some bullshit. There's always somebody that you didn't really like, or somebody that made you feel awkward or uncomfortable. Like everybody went through that. And kids aren't even going through that now. They're going through it with their phones, or they're
Yeah.
going through it now,
Yeah.
now they're going up through it with these AI things. These are not
Mm.
stuff that like parents can, you can, parent, she wouldn't know. It's one thing if your kid's on drugs and they're in the bathroom
Yeah.
and
It's
they're
not that
like,
simple
but like,
anymore.
yeah, but like they were saying in this podcast, it's another thing if your kid is in the bathroom in a relationship with a freaking AI,
Yeah, the
right?
good old
And
days when you
they're,
went to the bathroom, your kid went to the bathroom and had a relationship with his right hand, those were the good old days.
I'm
Now,
just,
now it's different.
I
Like,
just wish.
to your point, kids go, your son goes into the bathroom, he's in there for like an hour. He's safe, he's comfortable with himself, he's with his own body. But now, you don't know what's going on in there with that phone, right? It's crazy.
Okay, I'm just letting you get all of your stuff out. But my point was
Did
that
you,
did
you
not come out the way I wanted it to. Okay, neither did that. Okay, anyway, my point is, I can't stand you, Stephen. My point is that
sorry, sorry.
we we have this whole world, this idea that we have to create relationships inside inanimate objects and with inanimate things. And that because we can't have relationships with people is just going too far. Like
Yeah.
we've got to deal with the fact that we don't know how to relate to human beings. Like the people who are creating this stuff and doing all this stuff so that they can relate to other like inanimate things and all of that because they don't know how to relate to each other. It's like it's enough already. Like learn to have a conversation with somebody different from you. Learn to have a if you're creating a fake AI woman because you can't talk to a woman, you got to figure out how to learn to talk to a woman.
Yeah.
Like you got to figure that this stuff is
Well,
just
this is what you're
going
saying, but are
too
these youngsters going to listen?
far.
We've got a whole new
I
world.
know they're not going to listen, but my point is that this is what the problem is. Somebody's at least got to state the problem. I'm not saying I have any answers. I don't have any freaking answers. What am I? I'm a regular old person. I can't build the code for all this crap. I'm just saying that at some point you need to learn to have figure out how to have a relationship with other people. Like a
It,
lot of this is based upon and predicated on the fact that people don't know how to interact with other people and they're really, really smart.
yeah.
So they're creating these worlds and these applications and these things to try to relate to other things because they're so uncomfortable with other people.
I can't
So
really,
freaking
you know,
crazy to me.
yeah, and I didn't grow up in this era, right? So, I don't have a full-on perspective or understanding of what these children are going through. But, you know, I am young enough to kind of get a feeling of it because I was in the online dating world. When online dating started became mainstream. For a long time, it was considered very taboo to be, on dating sites, whatever. I think it all started with eHarmony, and we'd all watch those eHarmony commercials and start
Hmm.
laughing and
I remember that.
yeah, the people that people would make fun of, and if they heard anyone was actually on eHarmony, you'd make fun of that person, right? And then it
Hmm.
went mainstream. You got all these dating apps, and I remember my buddy actually forced me to get on one of the dating apps, and I was because I was completely uncomfortable. It was very unknown. I didn't understand how do you talk to someone online. You just how do you meet someone online and start chatting them up online without even meeting them? It was very weird for me because I was so used to the organic, meeting someone in person. Um,
Yeah.
and it was a very uncomfortable beginning for me, and it took me a long time to understand how to work that scenario. Um, but here's the funny thing. I got very comfortable in it, and then um, there was COVID and all. And when I got back into meeting people in person,
Hmm.
I it was like I had forgotten how to socialize in person. And that's just
Oh, yeah.
a short time period, a few years, where
Hmm.
I was meeting people online and I wasn't meeting people in person. And it completely affected how my ability to communicate with people. So I can only imagine how insane it is for these kids growing up in this era where they haven't even been introduced to dealing with people socially in person from the start.
Like it's always how do you talk to someone online as well as
Yeah,
in person?
yeah.
And many times you're talking to people online more than you're talking to them in person, which is so weird and just awkward. I 100% hear what you're saying, especially about the COVID kind of like transition, because I felt that way too. I remember after COVID and I went to something and I was like, I felt weird because I was like, I don't know how to talk to people. And but I could feel everyone felt like that because we were locked
Yeah.
up so long, right? It was like everybody was kind of feeling their way through it. But yeah, the online dating thing, that was I did that a couple times. I only like went met someone and went out with them. I think like 3 times I did it, and all 3 times was a disaster. Um, Never did it again. Definitely did not meet any no long-term relationships for that. I've only had a few long-term
Mhm.
relationships anyway, in my lifetime. Count 'em on my hand. But that's not the point. The point is, um,
You know what I hated the most
it's
about
just
online dating?
what?
The
Tell
part that I
me.
hated most about
I
online dating was
I never went that
a
deep with
lot of
it, so I can't tell
sorry?
you. I said I never went that deep with it. So tell me, please tell
The
tell the
part and
audience.
and I had, I did go on some crazy dates, but the part that I actually hated most about the online dating world and then going on your first date is that so many times you are on what I call a trap date. You know what a trap date is? You probably don't because I
I
just made
have
that up.
n- I have no idea what that is. As
It's
I
when
said,
you,
I don't know what this is like. Go on.
well, it's when you go on these dates, and on a first date, you met someone online, you've been chatting with them a bit, you meet them in person, and they're trying to trick you into saying things about yourself that are very personal that they actually are not okay with, but they want you to come out with it. So they say, "Oh, it's okay. You can tell me that. Oh, it's no big deal. You can tell me. Come on." They're giggling, and so you come out with what you want to say, and then all of a sudden it's like you're out.
Okay, well, I don't really know if that has anything to do with them being online. That just sounds like an asshole.
Uh, yeah, I guess. I mean,
I mean, like, I feel like
for
you could meet someone
example,
like that at the grocery store.
for example, having dinner with a girl, and we started talking about our past dating experience, and
Hmm. Hmm.
what kinds of people we dated, and
Hmm.
yeah, we were a few drinks in. I started laughing. I was about to share something about dating women, and I said, "Oh, no, I'm not going to share it." And she's like, "No, tell me." I'm like, "Oh, it's about dating someone that was a little younger, and I don't want to talk about that right now." And she said, "No, it'll be funny. Tell me. Come on, it's okay. I don't care." I said, so I told her how I was dating a younger woman and told her a story, and then a little while later, we were talking about, okay, what qualities are you looking for in a person? And one of the things she said was, I would never get into a relationship with a guy that dates younger girls. And
Okay,
serious look,
Steven.
seriously. And I was like, what? Why did you trick me into sharing that with you? I thought we were good with this. Why are you playing games with me? I don't understand.
Steven,
If I knew you didn't like it, do you think I would tell you? I'm trying to present my best version of me on a first date, right?
Steven, you
Yeah.
just, you know what it sounds like? It sounds like to me, you don't have any game and you got hustled.
You know what? I You may have a point.
That's what that sounds like to
So
me.
there are a lot of trap dates when you're online dating because it's uncomfortable, I guess, for both sides, and you go on your first date and people want to get to know as much as they can on that first date and trick you into saying things you don't want to say. I just hate that whole thing. Anyways.
Okay, well, let's talk about this. Do you want to get married, Steven?
Do I want to get
Yeah, this,
married? Yeah,
yeah.
if it's the right girl. If it's the right girl, absolutely. I want to spend the rest of my life with the right girl for me. And I'm not looking for perfection. I'm looking for the right girl for me. What I don't want to end up, which really scares me, is all of my friends that got married in their 20s.
Uh-huh.
I'd say about more than 95% of them either
Uh-huh.
hate their lives and want to commit suicide or they're
Oh
divorced.
my God.
Yeah. So
Commit
I have no
suicide.
desire, that shit scares me, you know? I have no
Okay, but
desire
you're not in your
to
20s
get
anymore.
married.
Let's just put
Yeah.
that out there.
I like to think I am, but,
Maybe that's the
um,
issue.
where are we going with this? Let's talk let's
Okay,
get back on topic.
okay, would you want to change the subject?
Uh,
Um, if we can change the
I didn't
subject.
realize this was a therapy session.
I didn't mean to be. This is what happens on Miscellaneous Candor, people. We can go down a path and it ends up at a curve. Okay, so um, how about you? You had that
I
crazy stuff you
I
were talking about last week. You haven't,
well,
wait, do you have an AI story?
I do actually,
Okay. All right. So
so
what's your AI
I
story?
came across this one app that, well, first of all, I just wanna play something for you first, okay? Let me play this for you
Okay.
and the
Okay.
audience.
Okay.
Tell me if you can hear it.
Okay.
Can you hear it?
Yes, yes.
Alright, just keep listening.
Hello?
Well, decided to illustrate. Oh,
You'll know the song.
yeah. Duh. Yo. Oh, damn. Clip that. What's up, Playboy? Did you reach to your glove box, sir? Give me registration once a hell no. Well, no. This is no. Yo, what's up, yo? Yeah, no, done. Okay, now, we are two tired and full without your what? Now, to drive me, what's that? No, yeah, no, don't tell her. We ain't trying to make for his mission. Okay, you look.
Hold on one second. All right.
Okay, Steven.
Hold on. Hold
Steven.
on.
Steven. Steven.
Hold on.
Jokes over still doing that. I mean, never seen until you stop swine to clutch my hold.
Steven.
Yeah.
We can't do this stuff unless it's like I have to like I don't know if we have to pay for the playing that music.
No. Trust me. Listen.
You can't touch but it goes us, cause we're close to the edge. With it trying not to lose our headed. Maybe you wonder why you don't take a thunder, why you wanna take a thunder. I take a crazy time, maybe you wonder why you wanna take a thunder, why you wanna take a time. Can nobody take my pride? Can nobody hold me down? Oh no, I got to keep on laying down.
Okay, so what did you think about that?
Okay, so it sounds like wannabe Diddy, but it's the music, so I hope that we don't get like
Yeah, don't
an
worry about it.
issue
Don't worry
with
about it. Don't
copyright.
worry about
Well, I do have to worry about it because when I put this out here, I have to
it.
reference that, and
Well,
hopefully,
let me
what
explain to you.
was that?
That was actually supposed to be my voice. So, I found this app
Oh,
called,
okay,
yeah. So don't worry about the copyright. Don't worry about any of that.
okay,
It's a
okay,
paid for app. Um,
okay. What's the? You have to
so
say the name of the app so I can reference it though.
yeah,
Or
the app is called My Tunes.
okay,
M as in Mary, YTUNES.
okay.
And you can record your own voice reading a story or anything for 5 minutes, and then you can select a song that you want to sing the cover of, and it's an AI generated song, so they take your voice and they what you've read for 5 minutes, so they capture all the style and the wording, the tone and all that. They capture it and they put it into the song of your choice. So being that it was it's like the year of Diddy, I thought we'd try one of his songs. uh
That sounded horrible.
yeah, it was not. So I'm gonna have to play around with this because that did not sound like my voice. um
No.
Right, you would never know. So what I was hoping was that people would know that it's me when I play for them. But that's definitely not. And that so I actually did not play that until now. I was holding on to it because I wanted all of us, and myself included, to hear it together for the first time. But it sucked. So
It did. What's the name of that app again?
it's
My
called
Tune?
my MYTUNES.
Oh
But
my goodness.
it seems to be pretty popular because when I when I selected my song and it was
Mm-hmm.
creating my cover song, there were
Mm-hmm.
over 1,100 people doing it at the same time as me. So and because
Wow.
of that, actually, it froze and I had to start over. So that there are glitches, that needs to be worked out. Including, most importantly, the voice does not sound like me. But I think I'm gonna play around with different genres and see is it better in certain types of songs, or and to be fully truthful, I will admit that I was thinking about that before I started recording. I was thinking, what song do I want to select? And I'm going to select a 5 minute reading based on the kind of song. And one of my favorite songs is Sacrifice by Elton John. You know that song. You probably sing it.
I don't know that song. Or I probably
Sacrifice?
do. I
Come on,
probably know it,
you know that
but I
song.
don't know the name of it. And you saying it right there, it's not something that sticks out in my head. So if you played the song, I might know it.
Okay,
That's what I'm saying.
I'll play it in a second. But so
No, we're
I
not
thought,
playing any Elton John songs on here because we don't have money to pay for that.
oh boy, would you stop worrying about?
I
Okay,
am gonna worry about somebody's got to.
okay. I mean, okay. So I won't play it, but it's a really nice song, and I thought, okay, why don't I find, it's a nice romantic kind of romantic song. So I thought, why don't I find a 5-minute reading that would make me sound romantic, right? So I
Hmm.
googled romantic stories. So and I looked it up. I clicked on a link, and without reading through, I just started recording and I started reading down the whole story. And it turned out it was a cute little lesbian story of two girls falling in love. So and I'm reading it and I'm trying to make my voice sound like it would be a romantic song. You know, it was a pretty funny process. Yeah. So maybe I ended up recording sounding like a lesbian. I don't know. Hello.
Okay, let's move on. Um, it's just, I don't even know where that's going. Okay, so
I sound like a
mhm,
woman in love with another woman. So
okay,
it may have
okay.
skewed the results. That's my point. Not yeah. Okay. Anyways, next. Yeah.
So the Trump rally in Madison Square Garden.
Yeah.
What did you think about that?
Robbie, so where should I start? I think he's I think he's nuts. And so isn't this the rally where he had a guy come on that said Puerto Rico is an island of garbage? Is that
An
the same one?
island of floating
Yeah,
garbage.
okay, so that is one, yeah.
Yes. That was
Oh,
so ridiculous. And evidently he was talking about black people and watermelon too. I didn't hear that one. And
I
then he was
know.
talking about other things. There were some other, he was like going after everybody. He was like one of
I
these like, equal opportunity. But I was just, I didn't know. I, you can talk about it.
well, my first question is, who are these people that would support such vitriol, such hatred, such racism? I it boggles my mind. And you heard people cheering that guy on too when he said that. I mean, what kind of country have we become? This is disgusting. Somebody needs to assassinate Trump. This is too much. Enough. What do you
Okay,
think?
so we're not going to say that. Like, well, I'm not going to support you saying that because
But
this
you
is
agree?
a podcast. No, I
Oh,
don't
right.
agree. No,
Okay.
I don't agree.
Come
I don't
on.
agree that you should just go out and assassinate people that you don't agree with. I think that's ludicrous. I don't think that's part of what this country is about.
Wouldn't it
It,
be
you
nice
know,
if we
even
could have like a purge day in real life? That'd be,
no, you guys in the purge. What is it with people and the motherfucking purge? Excuse me, this is going to be an
incredible.
E podcast again. I
Uh,
don't understand what it is with the purge, the whole idea. But
you,
anyway, no,
uh,
I don't think that anybody should be able to assassinate Donald Trump. I don't agree with that. I don't agree with the assassination attempts that happened with him. I know
it's
that other people, that other presidents have been assassinated. I don't agree with them either. I mean, like that's not how you solve issues is by
do you
assassination.
do you agree with all these terrorists and all these dictators that have been murdered throughout thousands of years?
No, I don't agree with them, but I'm talking about within the confines of America.
Oh, because we're
Okay.
different. You think we're different?
I
Look
think
what's
because we
happening.
try to have well, I said
Look
I
what's happening.
think we're trying to have a democracy, but it clearly, I don't know what's going to happen. I mean, honestly, to be honest, sometimes I'm like, I don't know which way. I mean, it's just so ridiculous, right? It's just, I mean, it goes without saying, right? I know what I'm probably end up going to do, but there's a part of me sometimes that I'm like, I don't know. I see why in a weird way, I understand why people are just like, I'm so tired because it's just so exhausting on all fronts. This is really exhausting. And
It,
it could be
no,
worse. It could be worse. I want to be clear because I'm very grateful about what we have and how lucky we are to be in this country and have
yeah, that's true.
everything that
Yes.
we do. So I want to be very clear about that
Yeah.
before I start saying how exhausted I am, because it does sound very first world. But I will say like the emotional toll, like all of this nastiness and this talk and this rhetoric back and forth, it's just a lot. And I do miss the days when people could disagree in agreeable fashion. I miss the days when people
Right.
actually tried to be respectful of other people. We
Right.
just don't have that anymore. We don't even try. We don't
Yeah,
even sometimes try to be kind, try to be respectful of each other,
not
try to
no.
have, I mean, I think I still do that. I think I still try to do that on a day-to-day basis. But then I wonder sometimes, am I alone? I mean, I don't think I am, but
You're not
it's like
alone,
if you,
but the numbers are thinning. Let's put it that way.
and why is that? That's the other thing too. The numbers are thinning. People are like getting off on being just nasty. And I feel like, unfortunately, if we go down a certain path, it's just going to get worse. But then on the other side, it becomes, well, if you go down the one path, right, it's just going to get worse. But then you have all of the backlash from the other side, and it goes the same way on the other side too. There's all this backlash. It's like we can't even the tension and the craziness. It's just like it's too much. It's just too much sometimes. And maybe it's just because I'm exhausted because it's going to happen next
No,
week.
no,
And
it's
I
I agree
really
with you.
want
It's
to be
very
over with.
exhausting to have to witness this. This is absurd. Uh, but it's a completely different world now in terms
I
of politics.
know.
Not just politics, but it's permeated throughout, you know,
Yes.
the public, right? It's not just confined to politics. Like you said,
Ugh, I'm
you
yawning.
know, before we could have normal conversations, you've got people on the right and left that they are very close friends and they don't even talk about politics. And politics wasn't even, as such a prominent part of who you are as an individual. It didn't define you back then. Now it's defining.
I know. And that's the one thing I will have to say. Why I like doing this podcast with you, Stephen, is because we disagree on a lot of stuff. Like there's
No,
just
I think at the core we're both the same.
okay, that's not true. But the point is that we can disagree and we are still close. And I just that seems to be missing a lot.
Yes, yes, and that I agree with you 100%. That's one of the main reasons why I value our friendship is that we are so different in every way, and we can talk it out and chuckle and laugh about things and share our
Mhm.
points of views without offending each other. Well, maybe sometimes I offend you, but we can still get through and have a conversation about it without hating each other.
Exactly. Like we can still be cool. Even if you do offend me or if I offend you, I don't think I really offend you a lot. Just more of you just kind of laugh at me. But sometimes you do offend me and I'm just like, well, that's him. But again, I'm like, that's him, but I don't totally oh, I'm just gonna castigate you to the depths of
Right, right,
hell forever.
right.
And I just feel like there's a lot of times people are just walking around being like this to people and wanting to hurt people
Yeah.
and like not allow people to live their life. Like, when did it become okay to literally challenge someone's well being on like just the straight premise that you don't? I mean, like, it's a thing, right? Like, we've seen it in other countries, we've seen it in other, like, wars and other places. We've seen this. This is not like a foreign concept, but you would think that people love to talk about in this country how quote unquote far we've come. But then on the other token, it's the juxtaposition of the constant challenge, right? Of do you deserve to even live, to
Hmm.
walk in the same space that I
Yeah,
walk because
yeah,
we don't have the same ideas about something. And that's so crazy to be like that in a democracy.
yeah.
Okay. All right. I'm off my
But
soapbox.
but to your point, we, as you mentioned earlier, we pretend we're. I don't, maybe you didn't use those exact words, but we like to pretend that we live in a democracy. But we don't live in a democracy, and if we think this whole system works, it doesn't. It does not work. No matter in the past years, past decades, we were able to put up a facade, and that has kind of come down.
My God, that's so sad. Okay, can we like say, can you just talk about something sunny and funny?
Uh, hmm.
No
I got
current
nothing
events
sunny
that
in
are
front. No, no, it's
sunny,
all
funny,
dark.
current
It's
events.
all dark.
So dark. I feel like you need to get a puppy.
I have dogs. Yeah,
You have dogs? I
yeah.
didn't know that.
I'm a dog lover. Yeah,
Oh, what kind of dog do you have?
Yorkie.
Oh my God, of course
Yeah,
you have a little teeny dog.
yeah, yeah.
Do you carry the dog around with you all
Oh
the
yeah,
time
of
when you go
course. Oh,
places?
absolutely, absolutely.
Oh
There's
my
two of them.
God, that is
Two of them. Two
hilarious.
Yorkies. One boy,
So
one
wait,
girl.
oh my God. So wait, do you have like a bag for them that you like roll them in? Do you have,
Uh, yeah, but it's not used very often.
okay, do you have, do you have
What?
strollers for them? Do you have strollers for them?
Well, it is a stroller. Yes, it's not a bag. It's a stroller. Well, no, there's a bag too. There's a bag too.
Oh my God. So do you push them around like your neighborhood and stuff?
No, that's only for situations where there's a big crowd of people, so they don't get lost or whatever.
Oh
Yeah,
my God, that is hilarious. Okay,
they are
you're gonna have to
they
send me
are
a
they
picture.
are like my own children. You don't understand how sweet and how much better than they are than human beings. I mean, it's just uh, yeah. I love them to death.
So do you like groom them and did they like,
Well, they have to go to
do
the groomers because they have fur, not hair.
yes, how often do you take them to the groomers? This is
Uh,
so intriguing.
Once a month.
Okay, do you put the bows in the little girl's hair?
Once in a while, yeah.
How about a
Once
little tie on the little boy?
a bandana.
Are you serious?
Of course.
A bandana?
Yeah, he's a boy.
Oh,
Don't all boy dogs wear bandanas?
oh, around his neck.
Yes, where else would it go?
Oh, okay, all right. I'm
Oh, you thought
sorry.
around his head?
Yes. Oh my God, I'm sorry. I was talking about some stuff earlier. That's why I went there. Okay, well, you know what? We are at 45. I think this is it.
Yeah.
Because we're just randomly having a conversation as we do sometimes. So, everyone, you know what? Okay, so next week, everyone, we have a oh no, it's not next week, it's the week after. We have a penciled in guest. But
Yay.
thank you for listening to us. Next week, oh my God. Okay, so this upcoming weekend is the weekend before the election. So I don't know. Maybe we should try to have Greg on, Steven, since he loves
Ah,
to talk about political stuff.
yeah,
You want
yeah.
to see if we can
Let's
pull him
do
in?
that. Yeah, that'd be
Okay.
great.
Let's see if we can have Greg on. Let's see if we can do this. Okay. Well, thanks everyone for another episode of Miscellaneous Candor.
Thank you, folks. Thank you for joining us.
All right. I'm glad Steven said bye without me even prompting him. All right. Until next time, have a great week.